Bosh. We're live, Eagle.
We're live. All right. Yeah, look at that. It's live.
Hey!
Um,
Hey,
oh,
yo!
it's a black screen.
Oh, well,
Oh, it's loading.
yeah, okay.
Hey, look at that. There it is.
You just gotta give it a minute. You have a 5 minute
I
warm
know.
up, I don't.
I don't have patience. That's my issue. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful night today. We have a podcast, the 14th of War of Rights Weekly, and we're going to be talking about how the map maker should be implemented, all that jazz, and more. So, with that out of the way, let's go through and introduce everyone. First, we got Killer.
Wagwan. It's a
Next,
colonial killer.
I apologize deeply, Killer. Next, we got Red.
Hello, I'm Red. 599y.org.
We got Flores.
I want to sleep. It's way too late.
Oh,
You
I
signed up
appreciate
for
you
this.
being here. Thank you. Next, we have the Asian Collector.
Hi, Asian collector of the Islamic Volunteer Brigade.
What? Collector was supposed to be here, but is enjoying a very nice meal. Next, we got MrFantom.
Hello.
So cool.
Why is your
Well, thank
phone
you.
quality better than your mic? Sorry, carry on, Eagle.
No, you're good. Yeah, I guess that's the big question, map maker. It's been talked about as of late. Uh, just the devs mentioned creating it, and that'd be a huge opportunity to finally get some new maps in this game. So I guess we'll just open it up to the floor. What's everyone's thoughts on a map maker? Yeah, I guess we'll just start there. What does everyone think of a map maker?
I think it's glorious.
Yes.
I think
Yeah, I'll
It's
definitely add some
amazing.
interesting events in. I agree with that.
It'll save war rights.
It
I
will.
think
It will.
I think it's a bad idea.
It will.
Oh, that's a
of course
first.
you do.
Asian
Steve.
collector. Why do you think that?
Because I think that it's going to pave the way for kind of maps that don't play into the already set kind of War of Rights kind of frame, and War of Rights has kind of leaned very heavily into historical authenticity at more or less any cost, with some maybe inaccuracies or issues. And leaving it up to a player base to do anything they want is just going to disrupt that kind of feeling of War of Rights.
Is there anything the devs could do in terms of controlling what maps could be released that you would be fine with for a map maker to exist?
I think the best way it could be done, honestly, would actually make it a great idea, is that if you could create a map that you couldn't play immediately, but you instead submit it to the developers to be like, hey, does this look accurate? Does this seem like something you guys would do? Kind of like, filling in the gap. Does this kind of match, the ticket balance? Maybe they could make those custom Cressy introductions. So, in that way, you could have a whole map set, and it could be War of Rights official release rather than 20 different interpretations of Fort Wagner.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
bro.
think.
yeah.
Then we'd have to trust the devs to
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, we've trusted the devs this
you
time
know.
to create all the other maps.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah,
I'm,
fair enough.
I think
but if they're all like server side,
True. I think though, like
like
one.
I mean,
Sorry, Phantom, go on.
I'm just thinking about uh, you know,
His one bar of signals cutting out.
like with Beacock, the way that they did it. Yeah, kind of. They like you created your maps and then you had them uploaded onto your server, so it wasn't like just any old random Joe had access to your maps. You could set them in like your own rotation, have them on your own server, so they weren't forcing you to play like crappy maps if you didn't want to. It was on whatever server you joined. So
But that
I
seems
think
even
a
worse.
system like that would probably.
Because fine
How's
well there's
it?
going to be some real low tier like pub officer guy from the pub officer Discord who's going to make a map, put it on their server that's always populated. And I mean,
Lat map.
one
Yeah.
thing that we love about War of Rights is like kind of how beautiful it is in terms of like the detail that they put into it, and I feel like it can really damage that mindset that people have of the game. especially new people that haven't seen all the previous shit.
There's definitely things they
Agreed.
could do though to make it so like they verify some maps like that are historically accurate or something. Make it so those maps are playable and interpret
Yeah,
them
they
in their
could
own
do
way.
they could do a thing where maps that are released by the community. I mean, we can even do it in Discord or whatever on the forums, but there could be like a pinned thing where it's like dev approved maps, so server owners can see all the maps that are made that have been approved by the devs. Um, like Hinkle or those guys who really are active in the community still and are always in those channels of communication. They can verify those and kind of have a central spot for people to be like, hey, these are the maps the devs approve and like are like War of Right dev approved. And so if you're a server owner, these are the maps you should put on your server if you want like the best possible map for this experience, battle, whatever it is. But I also like the idea of people being able to kind of put whatever maps they want on their server. But I do get the fear that someone who is just kind of a monkey will put like a really dog shit map on their pub server, and then new players to the game will go in and load up Fort Wagner with like brick walls and flat terrain and no hills and no foliage, literally just Greenland and like maybe a fort or two. And like if that was my first experience, I don't know if I would continue playing.
I don't think the pub officer. I mean, the pub officer Discord is mostly the one that's populated the servers. I don't think they'd let those maps stay on rotation.
Yeah, I'm
It's-
just using an example. I think
Oh.
those guys are fine, but
I don't even think it's about because like there's only one populated server in War of Rights, and for most new players, that's the first experience they get of War of Rights. And if it's not a very good experience because the map looks shit or whatever, then yeah, they're gone, and they're never gonna play it again.
So, yeah, you go, Zoo.
I was gonna say, I get the feeling that you're gonna lose some kind of like interconnectivity, like even before the little transitions. Um, I mean, you could go on a spectator on any map, and you could see that you're really just fighting on one portion of the larger map, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of that will get lost when you just leave it up to the individual person to kind of create whatever they want.
If you were forced to make a map pack, though, as you were mentioning earlier, like for example, Gettysburg, you just make one Gettysburg map, send it to the devs, let the devs fix it up, and then you and the devs could like break it up into different portions, like they do for Antietam, Harper's Ferry, South Mountain.
that'd be
then-
cool. But I just don't think the devs should honestly divert time away from the game that they're developing to focus on community stuff like that, because it is community built. So I just can't see them going, yeah, let me help the community with this mod pack and like divert time away from my job, unless they really want to. But just from what I know of the devs, they've never expressed a real interest in expanding outside of Antietam in general, officially especially. So I can't really imagine them working with the community to make like these mods or these maps.
Then why do you
that's
think they
probably-
would?
Go ahead.
My question is, why do you think they would make the map maker then if they don't really support anything outside of the three main map packs?
Because we I mean, to put it bluntly, we kind of keep bitching and moaning about replayability, and I think they know if we don't get new content for like years and years, the game is gonna die if it's just Antietam, and if it never changes, the game will die one day. And I think that it's a move to prolong the game's life, which I think is a great move, because you've got games like Mountain Blade Warband who have all the content creation you can want for that kind of game, in terms of like maps and mods, and that game is still alive, still kicking. Or even Holdfast, you have options in Holdfast to make maps, and that ability to have your community be engaged and active and changing the game in any way really is what keeps games alive. And if you look at games in general, the ones that stay alive are the ones that are moddable and that have some sort of community impact, whether that's in like mods like Napoleon Total War, or map makers like Holdfast and Gary's mod, or for, shit like that, to a bit of a greater extent. But nonetheless, still, the community generally, I would say maybe not some people, but I think for the most part, people would love to play something other than Antietam and South Mountain, Harper's Ferry. Um, and I think people are willing to sacrifice a little bit of that wide scope of like the Antietam battlefield where you can see everything around you when you go into spectate and like you can tell you're on one part of a bigger map. I think people would be totally fine with kind of letting that go, maybe, to play on a map like Gettysburg, like Little Round Top or something. Just as an example.
I know as a spectator, I think I would continually find that weird if the map isn't extended beyond its borders, at least as a personal preference.
That's valid. But I also have faith in people in the community who would be devoting time to a map maker to make it like a big map and then divvy up skirmish areas in it. Because who knows? Maybe that's how you have to make the maps with the map maker. Like you might not be able to just make it some small rinky dink fucking map. Maybe you have to have it be large and encompassing and then divvy up skirmish areas or whatever within that big map. Um, we really don't know, and I don't think we will know until that comes out because it's possible that's how the game is designed now. One big map, and then like it is now, skirmish areas within that big map. So it's kind of like up in the air right now, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I should have mentioned it earlier, but there's just been word that they're working on a map maker. That's really all we know.
We have a
Yeah,
So,
screenshot.
all
oh
they
yeah, I
yeah,
guess that's true.
that's all they really mentioned is that they're making a map maker. They didn't say when or, I mean, in all fairness, I feel like the map maker is gonna come out in a pretty long while's time. I don't think it's gonna come out anytime soon. They
Well, how long
normally
ago did they announce horses?
when they first released the game.
Exactly. So I think we're waiting an equal amount of time.
Yeah, or they surprise us and release horses with map maker.
That
But
would be a
no,
wild
Nah,
update.
No,
nah, they
not
wouldn't do that.
but no, it's not their style.
Well, no, because
It
they
isn't.
know that when they release horses, there's gonna be plenty of problems that they need to fix.
Yeah.
Which I mean, yeah. But if they release them both at the same time, there's gonna be hell to pay really.
What's gonna be funny with horses is that it'll be really cool and fun for like
A
a
day.
couple weeks, and
Just like
then no
artillery.
one's gonna ever touch them ever again except for Artie.
It's like artillery,
Hey.
where like everyone was excited for it, and then it came out, and they were like, "Oh, it's just cannons," and then it was fine.
Yeah, it's the new thing effect, you know, which is I think why once again this map maker would be huge because there's only so many new things they can bring to what we currently have, and horses would be cool. General mode, if it ever comes out, I guess would be cool, but I don't think they're still doing that based off of how things have gone. Um, you know, this is all great, but in the end, just how exciting can you make the same exact maps over and over again? You know,
Yeah.
contention helps.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
it
for
does.
Shade.
I was gonna say the biggest issue with Mapmaker for me is so we all know that mod that happened. What was it, like a couple weeks ago? The French
Mhm.
one. I think they could definitely do more stuff to merge both of those together, and you could lose a lot of the European community. I don't know. It's like my biggest issue with that is they combine both of those. You get like Waterloo or something, and you got half the Europeans going to play that instead of actual Civil War related things.
Yeah, I would hate that, right? Like to have a Napoleonic era mod for War of Rights, like you kind of destroy what War of Rights even is. You know what I mean?
Killer, one of the comments is saying that the sound is low. I don't know if you can. Killer's live streaming it. He's might be taking over when I go off to college in a couple of weeks, and so we're testing that out. I appreciate him
What
doing it a
about
lot.
now?
What?
What about now?
Oh, I don't know. I
Yeah,
haven't listened.
I completely agree with that concern about a Napoleonic subsect of the community forming, but also, you know, might be a hot take. The guys
Cool.
who are active in this community and the regiments who are active, we're here for a War of Rights game. You know what I mean? The people who really want Napoleonic stuff will not stay in War of Rights because it's not what they want. Um, there's a lot of passionate people in the community, myself included, all of you guys included, and I think we'll all stick with the Civil War stuff regardless of if there's a
Hmm.
subsect that forms that does Napoleonic stuff.
Well,
And
That
honestly,
well,
well, honestly,
you
if
say that.
Napoleonic stuff comes to War of Rights in whatever format, no matter how long it is from now, I actually low key been thinking about it ever since the last podcast I was on where we talked about it a little bit. I actually kind of encourage it because it brings a fresh new wave of people to war rights that could go in for Napoleonic
It
and then see the
wouldn't.
Civil
It
War
wouldn't
stuff on
help.
top
Yeah,
of
but
it.
that could
You know,
split the game and kill it. I mean,
No,
isn't that how
Shade.
Holdfast had?
Shade, I don't believe that the mod that they're working on would split the game because it's only a client side one. So if someone with the mod goes into
that
a
one.
War of Rights map, they would see French and British stuff, but any normal player without the mod would just see normal USA, CSA, and both players would still be playing on the same map. It's just a client side thing, which I
No,
think
but
if they're
it's
going to
gonna
do
be.
mods, they should try to keep it like that going forward.
But no, but it's gonna be more not like people. Oh, I don't want to play Civil War because there's this mod. It's gonna be like organized events, which will then pull from other events. NA side
I
of the
mean,
community, you
yeah,
I
guys
mean,
are fine,
events come
but
and
I
go.
I kind of see that, but that kind of happens anyway.
I mean, it
I
doesn't
hear what
though.
you're saying, but what I'm thinking is going to happen is people who want to come here for Napoleonic stuff will come here for that. But like for example, my guys, we aren't hypothetical map maker mods released tomorrow. Napoleonic stuff is part of that in whatever format. A client side Napoleonic reskin with a Waterloo map, right? All of a sudden it's released tomorrow. Me and my guys are not playing it, and whoever would want to play it, you know, they can do that on their own time or whatever. We're still going to go to the main events, and my guys are still going to show up for the main events because we're here for a war rights,
Yeah,
like
but
Civil War game.
you're North American.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think
that's
NA's going
true.
to have an
That's true.
issue.
Yeah,
That's
No.
true. Oh yeah, I'm
yeah,
not thinking about EU.
yeah. Your European side will most likely want to go and do that, and then any Americans that don't give a shit about Napoleonic Wars that attend the European events in your regiment will most likely not attend because they don't want to do Napoleonic stuff. And then your European side will likely end up just being like, okay, well, we're just gonna go do our own thing because it's just us anyway. And then bam, you've
I hear
lost
what you're
half your
saying.
regiment. And that's how it will most likely go in most regiments that have EU NA splits.
I see that
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah, that's actually pretty fair. I didn't think about it really from the perspective too much, but I can totally see that happening. Yeah.
I mean, for someone like me that attends both EU and NA events, it wouldn't necessarily be a huge issue because I'd still get a bit of both, but it's like the same thing as I don't really give a shit about the Civil War, just letting you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
Boo!
I just like the type of game and how it looks and the type of, play style. If there was a game that spit in double of War of Rights, Napoleonic's reskin, I'm going to Napoleonic.
I am too.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair because you guys are European.
Who would want to join the army of Northern Wales, Killer?
There is just way more. There is way more into the Napoleonic Wars than there is in
I will say, I
in
will
the
say,
American
first
side.
of all, if you're part of A&V, you're hearing it here first. Killer does not like the Civil War. Therefore, form a new regiment or leave it. Actually, don't form a new reg. We have too many already. Killer hates the game.
For real.
Secondly, apparently, Killer, you're very quiet.
Killer
Yeah, I
Quiet.
noticed that. I could see that in
This is
my mic thing. It's one of those things.
my mandatory shield to join the Islamic Volunteer Brigade at www.ivb.org.
That's not something I was expecting.
Yeah, it's
So,
I don't know why,
one
but it's
question
pretty
I
quiet.
do have, right, because as we've mentioned already,
Oh,
the
well,
map
it's
maker is not going to
Is it
be
better?
coming out
Who knows?
for a long time, especially with how long it's taken Cav to
It
come
might
out.
be better.
All right, I guess Cav hasn't come out yet. But what do you think is a temporary fix for replayability on the current 3 map packs that we have?
Like how replayable is it right now?
So, how can the devs make the game more replayable?
Letting well
Horses.
letting no, not even horses. Letting server owners go into the files and modify ticket counts, or letting it be an option for skirmish maps or whatever to let us modify ticket counts in game. I think actually be better.
Or swap
Um,
sides for skirmish
or
maps.
swap sides.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah.
stuff to let us or change
Custom
units
objectives.
yeah, extra objectives, change units per map. You know, like if we don't want to play 69th New York on
Wow.
Bloody Lane, you know,
Wow.
let us be able to swap it to like the 51st PA or something. You know what I mean? Let us just give us more freedom to work with what we have. That'll add
Overhaul,
so much,
I would
so
like
much
overhaul
to what we can
conquest
do.
and contention.
I think there should be a game mode
Yeah.
like where there's 2 points, like kind of where your spawn location is, but then you kind of spawn further back, you know, like after you die and shit. And it's pretty much like an attack and defend kind of game mode where like in coordination, like when
Like
we do
front
planning,
line in Battlefield.
like yeah, like when we do planning, you would have like certain regiments be like on the attack and certain ones that are on the defense to kind of stop their attack, kind of thing. I think
What
that
I
would
would
be pretty fun.
really like to have them do is to add the first VA Cav as a customizable regiment, and then promise or deliver on their promise that you would be able to select which regiments appear specifically in conquest contention. And then you could have Cav Cav with regular, I guess.
Do you use character customization?
Yeah.
That is
I
the
do,
only
yeah, a
it's the
little bit.
only achievement I haven't got is any of the customization ones because I can't be bothered to do it.
Are those character customizations, are they server side or client side?
What do you
Client.
mean?
Client.
Oh wait, no, it's server.
server,
People
yeah,
can see what
server.
you look like.
Yeah,
Okay.
it carries
That
over.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, every you've got like your own individual little model.
Yeah, but it's only
I
when you
know,
pick that
regardless.
particular regiment.
Exactly, yeah. Except for the faces. The faces transfer
Yeah.
for whatever. But basically, yeah, if they just let us work with what we have on a greater extent and give us some more freedom in regards to server ownership and administration, even something as simple as letting us modify ticket count in game, whether that's maybe at the beginning of a map we bump tickets up to like an extra 1,000 to be extreme for both sides, or we balance like fuck it, we put bloody lane, we have the union and rebs at the same amount of tickets just to see who would win in a straight fight with equal tickets, or like Cook's counter, you
That
put the
would be a
union
good
on the
one with
same
even
level
tickets,
field
yeah.
as CSA. That would be a lot more fun than Cook's now, because union doesn't want to play it because they get broken too quickly.
Yeah, like a game mode
What I'm
with
saying
one map where the point is in the middle at equal distance from both spawns, and everyone has equal tickets.
Yeah,
It's just
or
a
even
fight over
that,
that.
just a game mode where we
Yeah.
get exactly that. A point in the middle, equal tickets, just 1 point, not like contention where it randomizes, and we can just kind of fucking fight over the central point, until one side breaks or whatever it might be.
Like you can
I
have the
think
same
that could be
ticket
tons of fun.
mechanics of like breaking. If you're breaking and you capture the point, the other team lose. If the other teams are breaking, you capture it, they lose, and all that shit. I think it'd
But
be
then
a lot
what's the incentive to capture the
fun.
point?
Maybe if you
It
capture
could
the
work
point,
in the
you get
same way of
like
contention,
yeah.
where like after a certain amount of time, it drops the other team by morale state. So as the other team, you have to get back that point in order to stop just natural bleed from not having it capped. Kind of like Conquest right now, where you can like uncap the point, and then that's why we fight over it, to keep them from breaking us down morale just through caps.
Maybe not even like a constant morale loss like conquest, because that's the most annoying thing. That's why I like contention.
No,
better.
yeah.
Like
No, a contention style morale hit.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
at least you have like a set amount of time to retake the point. Whereas, so you have time to plan. Whereas in conquest, you're constantly losing tickets, no matter how even if you're not dying, you're still losing morale.
I prefer the constant bleed rate. I just think the bleed rate is too quick.
This is where we'll disagree. I actually really prefer contention
What if it
because
was
of
more
the
like a
fact
buff,
that
like a morale buff? Like
what do you mean, like a buff?
so like when you kill someone, there's like an extra 1.5. So like every death is like in formation is like 1.5 tickets you would lose, kind of thing. So you kind of lose more tickets based on death if you capture the point than you
Which
do
is-
like over time.
That'd be interesting, but that just kind of adheres to the fact that I think that the biggest problem with Conquest is that the ticket bleed rate matters too much. You can literally play worse than the other team as long as you have a majority, you win.
Yeah, but I mean, at least it means that the other team can fall back, not lose losses, and reform. And then if they do one good charge and take the point, they're not going to completely lose a massive ticket morale difference. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, but I mean, even any of these ideas, just giving us the option to play with the server in whatever way we want and do that would be so huge, because then we could play an event where we do it the way Killer's describing, me and Killer describing, I guess, or the way I'm describing, the way Killer's describing, where Zoo's describing. just giving us the option to mess around and find out in whatever way we want just opens the door in like so many different ways. Um, Letting us set just swapping spawns, kind of minor things that have been overlooked would just make things so much better
Oh,
for
no, I think would
I think
be
events.
fun. Do you know, like on Pick a Patrol, where there's the maps are always the same, but the spawn locations are different every single time?
Randomized? Yes,
Yeah, like
exactly.
a skirmish map, like say Dunker Church, but the spawn locations are like random.
And
That'd
the
be a little
bigger
weird.
map is
would
a little
be,
bit
but
bigger, so it makes more sense.
yeah,
Both
but
sides
it would
spawn on
only
Dunker
it
Church.
would only work if the tickets were the same, because it would be unfair on the defenders if the attackers
I
spawned
think
at
Yeah,
a certain
I've
with
always
position.
intention, with randomized spawns.
I've always said this, right? I think the problem with skirmish and the reason why those metas like they keep getting hammered down into hell is because you have this square boundary of where you can and can't go. But what it really should be is that you have your spawns and you can go anywhere except into the enemy spawn, and there's just this circle that emanates around your own spawn that you really just can't touch, but anywhere else you can go. Right? That would change up literally just about every map.
Yeah, but you'd have to have some kind of hard boundary so people aren't going from, let's use Dunker as an example, going from Dunker to Nicodemus in an attempt to outflank the church,
Well,
because
yeah, but
you'd be going like 20 minutes out of the way.
Do
But
you
I
think
agree. I agree. I
do you think
think
we could
your
have like
spawn should be the.
so? Sorry, carry on. Let you
No,
finish
no,
the
no. Go
sentence.
collector. Go
but
collector.
there's
So
but there's a
Kill
lot
your
of
thought.
places that aren't accessible that
yeah, it's true.
are no have no reason to not be accessible, like parts of the sunken lane and shit.
Yeah, I guess that.
Hmm.
Could you imagine like the skirmish maps, but Pick a Patrol rules? Like 15, best
You
of
can go literally
15,
anywhere.
and then you would like, so it's like 15-minute rounds, and once that round's over, you move to another map in Antietam or whatever. I've always thought about doing like a game mode where like we would pick like 4 maps in coordination, and it would be like kills based, where you would play for like 15, 20 minutes, and then we would end the round. Whoever gets the most kills wins that round, and it's like best of 4 or 5 in like a 15-minute period.
Mm.
I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to
It'll
see
be
how
like
that would
little
go.
mini skirmishes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We should set it up.
I think, I think we should also add a rule where you can't sprint until 30-minute mark.
Oh, no. God.
You can't fix bayonets either. Actually, you can't actually have fun until the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, I think in the original Battlefield game, the Star Wars Battlefield game, like the walkers,
Battlefront.
Battlefront, yeah, not Battlefield. So, they I think a game on like that would be cool, where like maybe you have to like escort like a package or something, like a carriage full of supplies or something. No, hear
Interesting.
me out, okay? Like
No,
even
no,
if
you've
it's
lost me.
wow, of course Shane would say that.
I kind of
And
get what
then
you're going for.
then you
I
get what
kinda
is
get
it? You get a big train as reinforcements if you fail in your
Oh
first
yeah,
wave
an
with, like, Gatling
ironclad,
gun. Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe to bounce off that, maybe like you're like a rear guard unit protecting supply columns, and then Confederate cav attacks, and like you have to hold the supply train or some shit from Confederate cav.
That would be
It'd be
sick.
But
cool.
yeah,
That's,
Yeah,
I mean,
it'd
I
be it'd be
feel like,
cool if there was horses, because then
yeah,
they'd charge at you in
I feel
horse,
like there's so
and
many
you'd be like
different,
shitting
there's
yourself.
so much
I mean,
stuff we could do with what the game is now that people just feel they just don't even give it the time of day, because they're like, oh, the game's so boring, the game's so old, the game's dead. When they just
Yeah,
think
yeah.
like that thing that I just spoke about, right? That could be easily done, and it would actually be pretty fun, because if you do like 4 maps, 20 minutes each, it's only like an hour, just over an hour, which is the normal time for 2 maps anyway.
Yeah, if you
I'll
go
be
off
right
the
back.
kills,
I
you
prefer
only
something like
yeah.
Hell Let Loose.
I'm
Have
popping.
multiple points you have to get to. You know how fun that'd be?
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of.
trench warfare, the general mode.
I
But
kind of like Verdun's trench warfare game mode, where you capture a point and then it pushes the front line back. I
Mhm.
think a constantly ebbing battlefield like that. And who knows, maybe this is their plan for the general mode. I'm lying, it definitely isn't. But where you start off the first skirmish map, and if the Rebs hold the point, because they're attacking, they obviously push forward, or you start in like the middle map of the Antietam battlefield, and it's just constant, and it doesn't end until one side. Maybe it ends after a few hours, but just like a constant battlefield kind of thing for like a pub server. I've thought about this a lot, where you join in and it's like an ongoing fight that's been going on for like the day, right? The
Yeah.
union's just holding on to this last point. Rebs are trying to push him back to the last union spot. If they take the point, the Rebs win. Like in Rising Storm 2 as well, where they have that kind of system where you go map by map. And I just think that would be cool to see, kind of like after a day of fighting on the actual battlefield, an ebbing battlefield where it goes back and forth like it did in real life. How many casualties you can pick up in one like 6 hour period of war rights with with an active server. And this is definitely a pub focused mode I'm talking about, because you need constant stuff going on.
I
But I
think
don't know. I
I
just
think
think
you
that'd
need
be
Yeah.
cool. Or
to.
maybe
Do you know what you need to make, Red, in the event coordination Discord? Event ideas channel.
that'd be cool. Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Because
I think the devs should add kill streak so I can drop a nuke on the battlefield.
The first VA in the chat makes a great point. He says the that 6 hour game mode you were talking about, the ever changing battlefield throughout the whole day. That'd be great if there was more of a player base, right? Because if we get late at night or very early in the morning, right, you have
yeah,
what,
it's dead.
50, 60 people at most. That's
No,
insane. But
I wholeheartedly agree. That's why I'm saying that it'd be really cool for that whenever in the future. But I think realistically, you'd have to bump the timer down, and it could be the exact same concept. Just instead of it being a day long fight, it would be like a 45-minute or an hour long match, 60 minutes, and in that 60 minutes, you have constantly evolving points where, let's say it's like contention, right? Where you cap the point for what? How long is it? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever. However long it is, you hold the
7
point for that
minutes.
amount of time, and if you win the point, you push the other people back to the next map behind them, right? And they have to fall back and defend. If they push you back, you fall back and defend, and then they attack. And you can definitely do a lot of the maps, at least in that span of an hour, in this way. And that way, we don't have to switch the maps during an event. We can do like left side of Antietam and just rip like from this map, X map, to Y map, just through a natural progression of the battlefield. You know what I mean? A natural progression over an hour of, okay, who's winning these points, who's defending, who's attacking. It's just constantly changing. And I think that would be really fun. And I've wanted to do it for a while, but it's kind of limited unless we want to like be specific with rules and timings and switching the maps. It's doable, but it'd just be way more fun if we could just do that kind of in game itself with its own game mode, where it's just contention, but using the actual skirmish maps and just kind of falling back to the next one or moving forward to the next one, depending on who is successful in taking it or holding it or whatever it might be.
a quick fix for that too is just, as you were saying earlier, add the setting for the admins where they could set the black timer, like change it. And then you could make it like, I don't know,
So
15, 20
fucking
minutes, and
true.
then just change the map based on who wins or something like that.
So true. Like 15 or 20 minute like periods, where in that period you could take the point, lose it, and kind of whoever has control of the point, that determines where the map goes next. That's super cool. Yeah. In hindsight, we could actually totally do that. We could totally do that actually.
That's what I'm saying. We could
I
literally
don't know,
do
maybe
all of the
we'll cook
things
something up, but
we have.
I don't know. That I just
We could
want
literally
some more
do.
dynamic
We
battlefields
could
going.
literally do
That's
all
all
of
I
the
want.
different ideas that we've said, but I feel like people just don't give it the time of day because they're just like, oh, the devs don't give us anything, so I'm not gonna put any effort in it.
I also think though that an issue is a lot of the community has been, how do I put this, has been scarred by really rule heavy events in the past, at least in my experience, or like really rule heavy campaigns, right? Um, then again, I've only come back to the game as of June, so I don't really know anything that happened in War Rights from like all of 2022. But from when I was playing back back in the day, there were a lot of event types, but the problem was that a lot of these were really restrictive in terms of what you could and couldn't do, and that turned a lot of people away from going for kind of special events because you'd go in and it'd be like, okay, you can only quick time march, not to shit on HRE, but like HRE's rules, but like a lot of people did that kind of thing, and that turned people away. So I feel like that's also a thing in the community where people are hesitant because they don't want to like restrict themselves so heavily. which is why BLN has done a great job. Not even a Sacred Egg Eagle, but
Everything on
because it is just a normal map,
for
but
most
with
events,
stakes,
though.
and I think that's big.
Well, for most days, there's always like 2 different events. One that's normally ruled and one that isn't. So there's always like for NA, you got Friday and Saturday. Where you got Saturday where there's GOA instead of Maryland campaign or whatever, and then Sunday there's the normal community event, and then there's the what's that other one called again?
War Brothers.
War Brothers, that one.
Basically GOA,
Mhm.
but a different
Yeah.
campaign.
I think Friday NA is the only
Interesting.
one where there's only the community, and there's no other like actual event.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because like Wednesday you've got Battleline Network or GOA. Even on the EU side, on a Friday there's the community event or there's the UEC. Saturday there's Grand Campaign or the UEC. Sunday there's that Generals at War, which is just a normal event, but you have a general. And
It's EU BLN.
HRE. Well, yeah,
No,
pretty much.
no, you're right. Yeah, I hear you now.
So it's just like there's plenty of variety that people can go to. I mean,
no, is there too much variety? Because all
I
these ideas are great, but like another special event type for units to go to, you know what I mean?
well, I wouldn't even say it's like something you need to do every week. I feel like it's something that can like when people start getting tired of doing the same events over and over, it's like a switch off where you can do something different, kind of restart your War of Rights experience, and then you go back and you're kind of more like, you're kind of more into it because you've had a little bit of a break. That's why we aren't doing
I got you.
on a Wednesday. We've took like a month off of doing Picket Patrol, and we're doing just pub stomps on a Wednesday because it's something different than doing the same old
Yeah.
Picket Patrol that we've done for the last like 2 years straight every week.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's why we do HRE on a Sunday, because like Friday EUNA is normal War of Rights, Saturday EUNA is normal War of Rights. So Sunday EUs are like one day where we get to do like more slightly historical-ish event, where it's not as chargy as the other ones are.
Well, you're still
Yeah,
very
fair
aggressive though in HRE.
Yeah, yeah. I think I was the main reason why they put the 30-minute rule.
But it didn't change. Well, at least I don't know. It probably did,
Hey,
but
all it means is we just aren't charging. We're still getting in
yeah,
there.
you're just double clicking.
I've
Jeez.
I've noticed a lot of people like to make rules for you, Killer.
Yeah, tell me about
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah,
like
like we ban British people from our events because of Killer as well.
That's a great move. I
honest-
should do that.
We all need to take notes.
For real.
Everyone should. Oh, wait, what?
Fan.
What?
Huh?
Community ban,
Hmm?
Killer. Start it.
Yeah, Killer. So I'm revoking your mod in event cord.
You're just
Discord.
mad.
Sorry,
You're
man.
just mad because Sussy's getting split up in BLN.
Ooh, he angry.
What?
Yeah,
They're
man.
not split up
I'll-
yet. If more
what
Sussy
would,
joins, then yeah, but
What would I have to be angry about? I got split off last night, and I 2-0'd Sussy Killer with you. So
Yeah.
so really
it's
the
working out for me
59th
right
Yeah, the
now when you
king-
think about it.
Kings
the
of
59th is
contention.
in charge of Sussy actually.
Kings of contention got
They're,
fucked
they're
over on
the big
contention.
dogs.
Zoo, what's your take
I
on
don't
that?
Yeah.
Oh,
My take on what?
who's Zoo?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
Asian
Asian
Collective.
Collective.
Yeah,
my
I don't.
fault.
I don't see a zoo in her.
For real.
My take on Sassy Brigade is that they're too full of themselves, and they can never stand to match against the Right Grand Division of the 20th New York, Islamic Volunteer Brigade, and the 9th Corps.
So true, man.
You
Hey,
think
man.
for
On
real?
COVID.
You should-
what's your
you should
stance
join
on
us.
COVID-19.
Oh man, as as an Asian Nebraskan,
As
I
an
gotta
Asian,
say,
I don't feel welcome in Sussy.
I'm not. I don't need to maintain 6 feet because I'm 6 million miles away from the next nearest person.
So real.
Doesn't even make any sense, man.
Thank you, Asian Collector.
No, I
Love and
felt that.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. Also,
This is why we have you here.
Chinese people are the devil. Don't trust them.
What?
On other news, how do you all feel about Twitter changing to X?
You're
It
Xing
makes
now?
it makes
It's
my
pretty
Twitter
awful.
feel like a porn app.
It really
So
does,
I get,
actually.
you know,
Does, yeah.
I get notifications sometimes, and I'm like,
I
what
just-
the
I just
fuck is
go- I
this?
just go on
Imagine
now.
using Twitter.
I just got one
Red,
now.
imagine
real.
using Twitter. I
For
should not have
Man,
invited you on this anymore.
I use Twitter
This is a
to stay up to date
travesty.
with.
Don't
Hey,
join
Hey,
59ny.org.
whoa!
Don't
Hey,
I
don't
stay
put
on.
that link in your
I'm
thing.
only on it to stay up to date with Formula One news and
I
information.
got
I
I'm only
join
on it for
once.
football news.
I got a Twitter notification and I looked and all I saw was X and I was like, what app do I have that's an X? And then I realized it was Twitter and I was like, oh, I have to bring this up.
I've seen so many memes of people like making like the funny haha words out of the new logo. Like someone had a line of apps that said gay sex, and I thought that was really funny because all the icons are like the letters, right? I think I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it.
This is the
Do it,
War
do it, do
Rights experience.
I'm gonna do gay sex, not the app thing.
I'm shaking my head right now.
Hey, you did say you were
Anyways,
coming to the UK soon. Wink, wink, cough, cough. Nudge, nudge.
no.
Hey man. it's
Anyways,
September.
if a map maker were to be created, what maps would you guys wanna see come out of it first?
Battle of the Crater.
Manasseh.
Battle of
That would be
Nashville and whatnot.
I
Waterloo.
Any siege. Any
what
man,
Waterloo?
killer. Mute this. Mute him.
Killer,
Mute him,
if
bro.
they add
No.
that, the community will explode and it'll be your fault, and I'm gonna directly pin
Yeah,
it on you.
yeah.
I mean, the only way
Any
that I leave
siege would
this
be really
game is
cool.
if the game dies, so I'm trying to kill it.
think in
Okay,
order
that's
to
smart.
stay true to the War of Rights experience, you have to stick with everything that they have assets for, which is kind of centered around the 1862 late era war.
So you're gonna
So
do
I
the
think
Vietnam
anything
War?
from the Peninsular War to Fredericksburg would be nice to see.
I love Fredericksburg with the
Fredericksburg would be
boats.
cool. No. Yeah, with the boats in
Snowball.
the background.
And they already have snow. Although I don't know if it was snowing. Probably wasn't like that cold.
Put snow back in server
It
options,
snowed.
please and thank you.
It snowed.
Yeah. Put
Oh
snow back.
yeah, we should have snow back in. That's another. Why they
Yeah,
remove
yeah,
snow?
yeah. Let us control
Where's the
snow.
Yeah, that will.
Let
That's
us
like
control snow.
Actually,
You know what?
still, it's
Zoo.
actually in the game.
Why have a
Zoo.
feature? Why have such a cool feature and then only have it on 2 days out of the year?
Like, yeah,
Because
Zoo,
it's
snow.
don't you
special.
dare, don't you dare
Snow
add
can
snow
kill
to
your
the Maryland
frames, but
campaign
who gives a
rules.
fuck?
Remember
Snow
when we
is
could
so
throw
cool.
snowballs at each
Oh,
other? That was so
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Having little snowball
Or like
fights.
playing like fighting in the snow was so sick because it made everything feel so different.
Yeah.
Like fighting with like in the woods on a snow map where the snow is everywhere. It felt like I was fighting fucking Russians, and you know, like I felt fucking
The
cool.
cold. Yeah. I mean,
When are they gonna put tornadoes in?
nah. Do you know what?
Right
they
now.
need to do? Do you know what they need to do? They need to bring back the unlimited ammo code you could put in the G portal for the drill camp. That would be great. Do you know how many
I
times-
don't get that. Why can't you have unlimited ammo in
Well,
the
they
drill
did-
camp,
well,
especially for
yeah,
Union?
See, it was annoying, right? Because
Why for Union, huh?
Because the
Union is
spawns
the
Spawn too
drill.
far away.
It's yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. It's like the run on Hooker's Push. It's just so
I've never
annoying.
been in a Union drill camp, to be
It's
fair.
horrific.
You're not missing
Imagine.
anything, brother.
Yeah, it's
Union
so
drill
cool.
camp is dog shit.
Yeah,
The CSA drill camp's where it's at.
but at least
Oh,
the
yeah.
Union
So
has
much
a
better.
flat shooting range compared to the CSA.
Hey, it makes
Yeah,
it
but
harder to
most-
hit the shots. You get more
Exactly.
Hey
training.
man,
Train more.
hey
I
man.
guess,
yeah,
I
most
guess.
of the maps in this game are elevated. with
No, they're
elevation.
flat. They're
No,
Yeah,
flat.
what
man.
maps
You
are
think-
flat? What
you go-
maps are you playing that are
Uh,
flat?
Completely flat. I
Uh,
don't know.
Maryland Heights.
If
Maryland,
Nice.
man, brother.
I
It's
agree.
flat in the diagonal
in
direction.
the CSA drill camp,
Boulevard
it's great.
Rebout.
Rebound.
In the CSA
Oh, yeah,
drill
I'm
camp, you can
retired.
at least
If,
go further than like
speaking of-
fucking 300 yards from the actual range and shoot. You're surrounded by trees if you try and do more than 200 yards in the Union drill camp.
Yeah, that's true.
Based as hell.
CSA has much more flexibility. Not
Oh.
if anyone has any questions for anyone on the panel, put them in the chat. We got a couple already, but
Hold on.
putting them
On
in.
that note,
Yeah.
400-man servers, guys.
Yeah.
How many
No.
tests have they done? How many tests have they done?
None.
Let me cook. All right, they've done.
I
a
think
few.
400 players for public matches as of now is a bad idea. It should stay in private events.
No, I agree. I think server owners should be given the option to switch to a 400-man server because 300, as we have all seen, because the game is popular. All right, we got a lot of people who play this game for some events like Sunday NA,
It wouldn't
Friday
work,
NA,
though.
for
wouldn't
BLN
work.
Wednesdays.
Dude,
We
we're
have to
going.
split the server up now
wouldn't.
because we have so many people that come.
It wouldn't
200
work.
per server feels too, or per side feels too much.
No, if you
Well,
think, right, it's Sunday NA, right? We had a max of what, like 440, right?
Yeah,
And if we try to squash it, right, like last night when Sussy brought like 100 instead of their fucking 70 max, like it's not gonna work because
mhm.
then when we go to
We'd
split
still be
off,
over.
when we go to split off into two servers of 100 inside, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my God, these servers are so small." It's like back in the day when we played like 2 years of 75 aside. It was great, you know, that was a full
That
server.
was
Woohoo.
wild, man.
Yeah.
That was
And then the minute
crazy.
they brought out fucking 300-man servers, a 75 aside is apparently a dead event now.
You know, that's a good point. But what I got out of that was 500-man servers when.
I don't know. I feel like War of Rights, the point of it, right, to really experience, what they're aiming for is bitter servers, bitter servers. The problem is they just need to accommodate, like 4 companies at some point. You're gonna have it's not gonna be enough
We
for
need to add another
400,
regiment.
500, 600
Yep.
guys. Yeah, or that, whatever. That's the thing is that they can't just give
Navy.
you more. They can't just give you more slots and then not change the game whatsoever alongside that.
Yeah, the
I
thing is,
don't
man,
think we need any more officers though. I think
no,
4 officers for 150 on a
this is
side
I don't know.
is
We could add a
plenty.
general.
this is the thing is
No,
like
hold on.
there's gonna
Go
be
killer.
one there's gonna be like they're gonna have to make a decision on whether or not they add more artillery, right, to these maps.
No,
Because no, just listen. So
More already.
if we add an extra 50 people aside, right, and if it's that means that we can pretty much fit nearly every regiment every time in the same server. And right now, with them being 300, it's even more like depressing to try and divide up artillery cannons between units, right? Because you're gonna have, especially on the CSA, because the Union doesn't really have that many artillery regiments, because there's fucking like 4 regiments in the Union now, because all the rest of the little tiny ones die so quickly, get wrecked. Um,
Mm.
but on the CSA, there's like 7, 8 different regiments that want to use artillery. There's only 4 fucking guns.
well that sucks.
Yeah, I know, but
Well,
at the
look,
same time, you have to accommodate the
with
people that don't want to play infantry and want to play artillery.
I get it.
like Asian Collector said, the higher in the play count we go, the more they have to add something for the more players to do, like and more officer slots, infantry slots, artillery too. Add another. I don't know about battery. Maybe fuck it. Maybe add another battery. The point is,
Nicodemus
I
feels
wholeheartedly
safe, though.
agree with Collector.
Nicodemus
I
is
wholeheartedly
safe.
agree with Collector that 500-man servers or more player count, and more people in one server is the vibe that they're going with this game. They want these big, massive battles, and will we fill a 500-man server every time? Probably not. But the higher we go, the more we can accommodate and fill more people in, and the more like cinematic and epic and like awesome these battles feel. Because yeah, I don't mind 150 v 150, or I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind like 100 v 100. I don't mind 200 max on a server or whatever. It's fun. It's always gonna be fun in my opinion. If the event goes the way it
I
should.
don't even think 400-man servers are needed. I don't think they're
I
needed.
don't. I
People
don't
just need
know.
to suck it up and play 100-a-side events. Like, it's not bad. Like,
but like but
it's
have some ambition killer, can you like
yeah,
it'd
but
be so
it's
sick
yeah,
to
but it just
have
looks even
450
worse.
people on a server.
Yeah, but it's not gonna happen.
That sounds so
It
bad to
sounds
me.
yeah,
I
but
think
this
a
is the thing.
private
But
server it would be great
hold
for
on
400. Public's
It
no.
really depends
does
on
it
the map, bro.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I
That
get
was
it.
my next
Eagle,
point
it's more
is
likely for a
it's
public server to fill 400 than it is for the private servers these days. There's only like maybe 1 or 2 events
The
that would make
problem
it
is
happen.
though, right, is assume we get a point where we can consistently fill up a 400-man server in a public match, right? The problem is if someone gets the game, they hop in server browser, they're like, oh, it's only one active server, the game's dead. If you keep increasing this cap and we don't always hit that cap or go above that cap, it'll look like the game's dead even though it's not. So that's and
mm,
on top of that too, right? If you have, let's say, let's say you have 3 200-man servers in public matches compared to one 400 500-man server, you could have each server doing a different map pack, and so people can be like, oh, I don't want to play Antietam, I can hop Harper's Ferry or whatever.
I don't think that's ever going to be an issue because you got to think about like if I'm buying this game, the problem is not that there is whether there's one server or 20 servers. As long as there's one server that has a modest amount of people, I think it's fine, right? Because I only need to fill if I'm a newcomer, I only need to fill myself. I don't need to fill 20 guys, right? So as long as I can have the experience and I can do it regularly, which honestly, thank God for the pod Discord, they do that fantastically, and I feel like the minimum player count for the pub is
LOL.
always doing pretty good, right? I don't think that that's a concern. Like War of Rights is never going to be hella loose or squad. You're never going to see the whole roster of servers and they're filled to the brim. Like that's just never.
Imagine,
It would be
imagine
cool.
the
It would be cool, but it's just not right. The
Yeah.
key is just making sure there is that one server that I can join, and there are a decent amount of players there, right? Because like I said,
Exactly.
all I
Yeah.
need to do is play for myself, and as long as I can have that experience 24/7, then what difference does it make?
I
Problem
guess
is,
I
that's true.
wholeheartedly agree.
I feel
Yeah.
like
So
I feel like the thing that the devs are probably struggling with right now is the fact that when they switched from 200 to 300, G Portal allowed them to not have to pay any extra money. Whereas I feel like 200 to 400 is pretty much double. And bearing in mind a 200 man server, well, you're paying for 200, but it's actually 300. So a 300 man server for a year is nearly a grand. A 400 man server, if we like have to pay more because Gportal refuses to, keep the same price for 200 as they do for like, currently, we're gonna be paying like 1,500 a year. And if we're doing it like monthly or every 3 months or whatever, you can be paying upwards of like 2 grand a year just to run a server for ward rights.
Yeah, that's also a good point. The economic side of it. Yeah, fair enough.
And I feel like that's what they're struggling with right now. And I feel like
don't
people aren't getting that.
solution. Don't form a bunch of tiny wedges. Everyone merge, merge, merge. But
Mergers are
anyways,
not the key.
let's there's a couple questions. I guess this one goes to Killer. We might have covered this earlier. Killer, do you see EU devolving into specific EU maps like Waterloo? Is that Austerlitz? I don't know how to say that. And that stuff exclusively, if a map maker comes out.
No, but I see it being a big thing in terms of like regiment like events over the weekend. Like HRE might change into being one of those types of events, and I feel like over time, if people enjoy it, more events like that will come out, and then it'll divide EU and NA in the community more than it kind of already is divided, with like the historical rules and normal, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, fair enough. So, has everyone in here either commentated or broadcasted an event on this channel?
Yeah.
Has everyone?
Yeah,
Phantom,
and I
has someone?
hated it.
I
Uh,
don't think Phantom has.
I don't
Have
think
you?
Phantom, have you?
I keep asking him to, and he keeps refusing.
Oh. Anyways, uh, Kiwi Lemon Brain asked the question, "What's your favorite War of Rights event to cover?" So I guess we'll just kind of go through each person. Killer,
What's my favorite what map?
what's your
War of
favorite
Rights event to
event?
cover.
Yeah,
Ooh. Well, I only ever really do Friday EU, but I would say maybe historical rules event, because that one's kind of interesting.
doesn't even plug his own event.
Hmm.
Well,
Red,
Grand Campaign, no, because I play it. I don't want to broadcast it. I want to play it because everyone listen up. Fuck off, Red. Grand Campaign is so fun to play in that you don't even want to spectate. That's how fun Grand Campaign is. So everyone
True.
should join
Can
Grand
confirm.
Campaign. Flores
I don't
can
know. I
confirm.
recorded Grand Campaign for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Red.
look, now he doesn't play War of Rights, see, because the recording it was what drove him away from the game.
My favorite event to commentate. I think I've commentated Generals at War,
Oh
the
god.
the the fucking Sunday HRE alternative for EU, and then HRE. But thinking about all the events that we plan, I think the ones I've commentated, I really enjoyed commentating over GAW. But HRE was fun just to, like Killer said, it's pretty interesting seeing how people go about it with the rules in there. But it also is very boring, though, sometimes, which is why I would say GAW is probably my favorite one so far. Overall, I think Wednesday night would be the best one, I think, to commentate for if I did, because of the stakes that are associated with every match and the tactics every unit tries to bring to every event for the BLN ones.
HRE is fun in terms of its style. If like for the funnest one to commentate, it has to be one of the NA events because I just like shitting on all the NA regiments.
Hey,
Yes. Yes.
I'm sorry.
No,
Those
we're
two,
not
those
starting this
two,
debate. No.
those two Friday
Okay,
NAs
go
that
and
I've
form
brought.
double
No, no,
ranks
no.
and quick time march in the
No,
battle.
just
Double
Killer Nick
ranks are
no,
Flores.
stupid in war rights.
It's
Hey,
not that.
listen.
No, no,
Anyways,
no, no. It's not that. It's not that. It's like looking at what some regiments do in NA events because in EU it's a lot slower. So it's like
Hillary
it is
can
what
be
it is.
decent.
But in NA, it's just like some people just make the most idiotic, stupid. Like my two Fridays
Call him
were
out, killer.
affected.
Call him out. Counter battery?
Call him out,
Yeah,
killer. Who
yeah,
is
the
it, killer? Who is it?
counterparts in IVB, Yoto and
Yeah.
Regiment
No,
Eagle.
no,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
no, 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 no,
Yes,
no,
Can
no, no.
confirm.
yes.
Nope.
That one,
Yeah,
that one.
IVV
Yeah,
definitely.
they
IVB's in the
threw.
finals. I'm
No, no,
coping.
no.
Islamic
Anyway.
They
Volunteer
threw.
Brigade.
I
They
mean, hold
threw
on.
that
Asian
fucking
Collector
roulette
knows
lane
he's an
match.
IVB.
Oh yeah.
They threw
Listen,
that. They threw that roulette lane match.
someone
We were
with
gonna win it, and they
my
threw it.
gross experience in War of Rights, obviously the best event to cover, the most interesting one, the House Divided campaign, of course. Who
Oh
else?
no.
Who else? What more interesting content is there to watch than watching two teams stand on opposing sides of or conquest and watch them not attack because they won't play conquest regularly, and then also spectating when the Hood has his freakouts, yelling at his own friend Lee's to
Those are great.
get the fuck off at sea, Ohio.
I don't know. The one time I recorded that event, I think I sat there for 30 minutes after the event was supposed to start, and it still hadn't started yet. And I don't think I even used the footage of that event that night.
No, you did not. That's the one thing that kind of sucked about HRE2 is like 20 minutes after the supposed start time we went. It was like, come on. But
Hey, he was busy doing something. He had a phone call.
Huh.
Okay.
fair enough.
I don't know. I
If
don't
you
know if he had
don't
a phone
know,
call. He was
Asian
busy
Collector here. I guess Zoo runs Maryland campaign, the other Saturday night event.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Fair enough. I mean, IVB is in HTC, so
Wait,
Exactly.
Hey,
That's how I know so much
wait,
about
hold
it.
on.
Right?
MC?
exactly.
Hey,
The M.
So
Wait,
House
I can
Divided
talk
campaign.
about
Wait.
I can talk about Maryland campaign. It fucking sucks. Okay,
really
it fucking
does.
blows.
I
Really
know.
fucking
I
suck.
agree.
It's
Anyways,
actually horrible.
Forrest, we've kind of covered
Rolling,
one.
rolling
Yeah.
for
Don't try.
time of day.
I like the Friday NA because I don't know these people. I never commentate NA, so I just watch these people that I've never seen before play the game, and they do sometimes really well, sometimes really shit. So I like that. I like that event. I'd like to
Cool,
do it
cool.
again.
Shay?
Correct.
I mean, I do have to go with Grand Campaign. I did enjoy recording it the times that I did. I did that probably for like 7 weeks straight, I want to
Mhm.
say. Something like that. I don't know. I
He
recorded
did
for a while. It was an interesting event.
He did it that long that he forgot how to play War Rights.
For real.
Eagle,
Uh,
you should do Grand Campaign more. Just saying, cough cough. Hint hint.
the problem is, right, is I get to that point on Saturday and I'm just like dead from the whole week. And it's like,
So
That's
many
what I'm
excuses.
saying.
I need my recovery
It's a
time.
skill issue.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
So,
it really is a
okay,
skill
okay.
issue.
So
Actually, Eagle, you're gonna have to recover GOA at some point.
Yeah,
I know you
speaking of
really want to.
GOA and War Brothers won the BLN Community Poll Tournament for
Oh,
being the
God.
best event.
You
So
haven't re- you
Zoo
So
haven't
I mean, Zoo
fraudulent.
knows
So
that very
fraudulent,
well.
man.
But
Yeah, those
Such a
those
fraud
two
poll.
events those
Fraud
two
poll.
events won the poll, and Eagle hasn't recorded any of them in the last like 6 months.
no, I
Yeah.
haven't. I have
GOA
not.
I didn't know you
banned
recorded either of
quarter of the
them.
community.
No, I haven't recorded any of them. They said they'd be interested, but I would prefer to cover other events on that night.
That's
So
right. That's right,
Ooh.
Eagle. That's right. You're a champion of the people, Eagle.
Also, this is
it's
another podcast. When is Killer gonna call out the leader of the event that IVB always goes to for not allowing us to fight those damn Maryland campaigners in a campaign v campaign event? Whatever
Dude,
happened to that?
HDC, the Maryland campaign, Hood declined that instantly. We talked to Irish from GOA for like a month, and then he came back and said no because their officer said no.
What a shame. It's a good thing me and the IVB are not in the GOA. I wouldn't want to fight with those guys for sure.
Yeah, we can't be there anyway because they banned all of my officers 2 years ago. So,
Oof.
fuck GOA heavy.
So,
Damn.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's all the questions. We're about at that hour mark, almost dead on. So, that all being said, we'll go through everyone. Plug something. Thank you all for being here. Killer?
Yeah, follow my Twitch, give me money. Army Royal Vigilance
Sure,
Recruiting.
Killer?
Exactly.
He's dead.
I
Oh,
agree with
sorry,
Killer.
Killer has no plug.
I forgot
British
about my push to
internet.
talk. I forgot about my push to talk. Yeah. Follow my Twitch. God Save the King. Ian V's recruiting. HTC and GOA. You guys are pussies for not accepting the campaign versus campaign matchup. Get on it or get off the train. That's what I say.
Oh, real.
I was so excited to do it because we were gonna have two servers. It was gonna be a great probably one of the best broadcasting nights, frankly, ever.
Eagle had a whole production team ready, about 20 guys.
Yeah,
Gonna get
we
every angle.
hired every single one with the 1.8K I'm making on YouTube per Shades research.
Yeah.
On Social Blade, it says, well, what did it say? 1.8K a year.
Yeah, it's the max amount you could be making a year right now.
Yeah,
As
according to
lowest
Social,
being like
$113.
$4.
How much you making
Yeah.
a year right now?
Yeah, no, 113 to
Social Blade,
1.8K.
100. Social Blade says I make 113 to 1.8K a year. It also says I make 9 to 151 bucks in a month.
How much you making a month roughly?
Oof.
Like $5 bucks?
Yeah, let's dive into your finances, Eagle. Tell us
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
I just wanna see.
Anyways,
I just
Red,
wanna
what do
see
you want to
whether
plug?
whether he's underperforming and by YouTube standards.
I will plug 59y.org, and I will plug the Sussy and Dragons D&D podcast.
Was on to
Ooh.
that. I will say, limited ads on videos is a thing of beauty. Loris,
I want Navy in Warfight. Just everybody can hate all they want. I just want to play Navy. Join
Yeah,
the
naval
51st
battle me
Fredericksburg.
right now, bro.
I want the boats in Warfights, and that's all. Thank
And
you.
the submarines.
Ironclads,
Ironclads,
boy.
add
Okay,
I want the
ironclads.
that's boy.
Hunley. I want the Hunley right now.
Submarines.
Summer.
that would be.
Where's my
nuclear
catch 'em
subs,
grenades?
Suicide bombers.
For real.
Imagine if you could pick up an artillery shell or round or whatever it's called, and just like charge the enemy, and they shoot you, and it like hits them. Boom. That would be.
Suicide bombs.
Or like imagine if you could shoot on a caisson, and if you hit it, it like explodes.
Dude, that would be so fucking cool.
Every event I would assign SR.
Counter
to be
battery
the
would actually might
Suicide
be worth it. Shade, what do you want to plug?
I'm not plugging anything. I just want to mention the fact that you didn't introduce me in the beginning.
I didn't.
Nope, you forgot. You completely
Ooh.
skipped
Oh,
over
you
me.
did.
It's
Shade, would you
okay.
like to
It's
introduce
okay,
yourself?
Shade.
You went
No, I'm
Asian
not gonna.
collector. You went Asian
No
collector
need.
instead of a. Wow.
Crap.
Wow.
I wondered why you did
We're
that.
end the end. Cut. We were gonna redo it.
Restart the
Asian
podcast.
collector.
Yes, join the Islamic Volunteer Brigade at ivb.org, and
That's
remember,
not the link. That's not the link.
What is it, Eagle?
Irish
What is it?
Volunteer
You
Brigade.
I think
remind
it's the IVB.com. Yeah, it's the IVB.com.
ivb.com. Fabula.
They don't even know
Much
their
love,
own
brother.
link. SMH.
That's kind of embarrassing.
kind
The
of
regimental
embarrassing.
leader. What do you have to say for that, Asian collector?
I'm going back to Ireland.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada. Blame Asia,
Mr.
really.
Phantom.
I'm not mad at
Squid
you, VA.
Hey, look at that.
I love you.
Yeah, so with that all being said, an enjoyable podcast, at least for myself. Thank you all for being here. Those obviously in the podcast and those watching, appreciate you guys watching a lot. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Support us on Patreon. The link is in the description. You can get videos before everyone else and get behind the scenes footage and help the channel grow. It's a thing of beauty. Join the Discord as well. Check out the merch. And with that all being
Eagle.
said, we will see you in the next episode.
Eagle, I ended all that before you even started plugging.
No, you didn't. I'm still watching it on my thing. It's still live, Killer. You can't fool me.
Squid
Not
He's
the way.
recruiting.
Squid game.
Shit, I
Squid
can't end it
Game.
because
Don't ban me.
I can't end it because the Steam
Asian
thing
collector.
popped up.
Squid game.
Get
Squid
off.
game.